De-dollarization is not always voluntary. Sometimes countries are pushed into the corner and forced to do de-dollarization. Today, Iraq has banned use of US dollar. Iraq has announced punishments in terms of fines and even imprisonment for any person caught trading in US dollar. Iraqi government is attaching this initiative to its national security and sovereignty. It is appealing its citizens to stand by the country and oppose the United States hegemony. Doing this, the present Iraqi government is taking a huge risk of upsetting Washington. In fact, upsetting Washington was the very reason why Iraq was invaded back in 2003. In this video, we'll explore the reasons why Iraq chose to ban US dollar, and more importantly, how Iraq is a playground for United States and other European countries as well, countries like France. Do you know that the foreign exchange reserves of Iraq are more than that of countries like Spain, Canada, Malaysia, Denmark, and so on? But at the same time, the per capita income of Iraq is less than 10% of that of Canada, or less than 50% of a country like Malaysia. Why this disparity? Well, this is what happens when you're colonized by a foreign power for 2 decades. United States invaded Iraq in 2003, and even today, after United States pulled out majority of its troops in 2001, Iraq is totally dependent on United States. United States controls the money flowing inside Iraq, the money that is earned by Iraq by selling its oil. This money is stored in federal reserves in United States, and Iraq is not allowed to withdraw this money. Iraq has to request United States every single time it wants to withdraw this money. And now United States has placed additional restrictions on Iraq to withdraw its own money, which Iraq has owned by selling oil from its own sovereign territory. But the reason United States is doing this to Iraq is not Iraq, but there are other players involved. There is Iran involved, there is France involved, and there are many other geopolitical factors. You see, despite having abundant supply of natural resources like gas and oil, Iraq is forced to import oil and gas from its neighboring country, Iran. Almost 50% of electricity and gas supply in Iraq comes from Iran. More than $900 million worth of trade happens with Iran every single year. In 2018, United States imposed sanctions on Iran. And since then, Iraq has struggled to make its payment against electricity and gas supplies which it takes from Iran. Particularly, the bills from 2019 to 2021 were pending from Iraq to Iran. And since Iraq was not able to pay these bills, Iran cut down the gas supply and electricity supply in the middle of summer in Iraq last year. This led to widespread protests and political ramifications for the then ruling party in Iraq. Hence, the Iraqi government had to do something. Well, Iraqi government paid Iran all the dues it had in Iraqi dinars, its local currency, which it almost stopped using for the last 20 years because of excessive devaluation. The problem is Iraqi dinar is heavily devalued. It is being traded at more than 1,500 Iraqi dinar for every single dollar in the white market on the counter. But at the same time, in black market, Iraqi dinar is being sold at more than 1,700 for each dollar. Hence, it would be very difficult for any country which deals in Iraqi dinar. Then why did Iraq do this? Well, Iraq has a mechanism, as I mentioned, with United States Federal Reserve that it can request for US dollars, and then Iraq sells this US dollars to its banks within Iraq, and these banks exchange USD with other currencies in local rates. But the problem is that Iran is heavily sanctioned. So Iran had to allegedly use black marketing and money laundering to get its money back from Iran. At least this is the allegation which was made by United States over the last 1 year. What did US choose to do? Well, US imposed additional restrictions on converting Iraqi dinar with US dollar. And this had a direct impact on Iran monetizing its Iraqi dinars, which it got from Iraq, into US dollars. Today, Iran is stuck with millions of Iraqi dinars without knowing how it can convert these into US dollars. The reasons why Iran accepted these Iraqi dinars is unknown in first place, but this has certainly put strain in the Iraqi economy. The then Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein wanted to trade oil with euro, and he was punished with an invasion, and today it has been proved that it was a false accusation that he had weapons of mass destruction. But there's more to it. There's another player who is involved in this game. You see, France has never supported United States in its invasion in Iraq. Back in 2003, when United States invaded Iraq, France did not immediately support United States. That's another thing, that France ended up sending its own troops for peacekeeping missions and fighting ISIS later. But the fact is that France and United States were not on the same page when United States invaded Iraq. French always wanted to have their own influence in Iraq because they saw a lot of oil and gas coming in from Iraq into their country. In fact, there was a time when more than 25% of oil and gas supplies to France used to come from Iraq. That's how old the relationship between France and Iraq have always been. Ironically, France and Iran also don't share the same kind of enmity which United States and Iran share. So in a sense, France is also trying to have its influence in Iraq. Last year in 2021, France energy company Total entered into a contract with Iraqi government worth millions of dollars, where Iraqi government was to make its land available for oil and gas exploration. This also could have upset Washington, which saw its turf being taken over by another European country. In fact, French President Macron visited Iraq in 2021 and attended the summit. France has been aggressively trying to gain inroads into Iraq just when United States was pulling out of Iraq. There was a vacuum which the French President Macron saw within Iraq, and he wanted to fill that vacuum. And today, the scenario is such that Washington does not want any other European country to enter and exploit Iraq. By reducing the supply of US dollars into Iraq, what United States has done is that it has hurt the Iraqi economy, because many countries like India, China, South Korea also import a lot of material from Iraq. In fact, Iraq also imports a lot of material from many of these countries. So Iraq needs its foreign exchange reserves. Colonization is not only done through soldiers and troops. Colonization is also done through capturing a country's economy and making the country completely dependent on another country. This is exactly what has been happening with Iraq for the last 2 decades. Even after 20 years of being invaded, even after 1 year of US pulling out most of its troops from Iraq. United States hegemony may not be under threat by this step taken from Iraq, but this incident certainly sends a message to the global south and many other countries from BRICS, or countries which are planning to join BRICS, that US hegemony, if it goes wrong, currently what is happening in Iraq would happen in their country as well. This incident is yet another warning sign for countries to reduce their dependency on USD. Countries around the world today are under threat of sanctions under threat due to whims and fancies of Washington. Washington still has an opportunity to win trust from these countries by immediately adopting policies which are mutually beneficial for these countries and also United States. But so far, over the last few years, from what we have seen, the chances of Washington arriving at such neutral policy seem to be thin. Washington clearly not learning its lesson under Joe Biden. In the 2024 elections, with a possibility of a new president coming in, there is a chance that there might be change in US policy. But till then, the world has to deal with this. This is Degree signing off from this video. Do like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll keep posting more videos. Stay tuned.